Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch, the original think tank, where wisdom, laughter, friendship, and ingenuity are shared by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs.
Here we are. We are live on Facebook. Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch. Thanks for joining us on the porch. We've always got a chair here for you. And today, Maria Garcia is here. She's just wonderful. Excuse me, I'm still fighting that cough from all the humidity and the air conditioner and everything else. But Maria Garcia is here. She is going to talk a little bit about her book and that she's going through a second edition. And in her words, her and her publisher broke up. So you can only get the book from her right now. But Maria, introduce yourself a little bit for those who may not know who you are.
Hello, I live in New Jersey. I'm Maria, and I've had a very colorful life, so I put it all in a book, which is right here. That's the book. Like you said, Linda, right now the publisher and I are broken up, so the only way to get the book is through me directly, as I work on a second edition and doing something else with the publishing, either self or publishing through Amazon. We'll see.
Yeah, good. Yeah, publishing by yourself is good. That way you've got it exactly the way you want it. And it's a lot of work no matter what you do. Excuse me. So Maria, tell us your story a little bit. Why did you write the book in the first place?
Okay, the reason I wrote the book in the first place was because it was a bit of it was for me, really. It was catharsis. I needed to just get it out there. But basically, what the book is about is my life. And when I was 25 years old, I ended up at the hospital, and I thought, oh, okay, I have food poisoning. That's what I thought, right? Somebody walks over to me after a few hours and says, "Miss, we think you're having a stroke." And I thought, all right, so much for food poisoning. But what's a stroke? I had no idea. I had never heard the word. English is my second language, and the word wasn't in my vocab. And to be honest, I had never even met anybody with a disability at that point. So I just nodded in acceptance, not having any clue what was happening. And within 24 hours, I was paralyzed from the nose down, which means I was also a mute. Everybody thought I was in a coma, and I was not. Actually, let me go back. I had an operation to bust the clot. It was a clot in my brain. And after the operation, I was mute and paralyzed. So everybody thought I was in a coma. But I could hear and see everything that was going on. It was so shocking. I was numb. I was totally numb. I just could not comprehend what was happening. People are coming in and out of my room. I'm getting tons of visits from friends, family, my parents' friends, and it was just nuts. And it took about 2 weeks for them to even realize, oh, she's in there, right? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was a friend of mine who realized it. She came in with pictures of a trip we took together, and she was showing me the pictures, talking, and she noticed I was tracking with my eyes. So she went and told doctors, who said, and I just found this out, who said, no, that's involuntary eye movements.
Oh,
Right.
oh
How
wow.
crazy. How crazy. But she ended up also telling my family, and they had the wherewithal to say, blink once for yes, if you understand this. And that's how it all started.
Oh, I can't imagine to go through that knowing you're awake and you realize what's going on, but not being able to do anything about it. And then to finally have your family recognize it. But obviously, there's a lot more to your story because you're standing here talking right now. Um,
Oh,
I just, I'm still kind of blown away by it. It's yeah. So you said English is your second language. What's your first language?
Spanish. I was born in Spain and I moved here when I was about 7 almost, a couple of months
Okay.
shy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and not understanding what a stroke is and having a stroke at a young age. It does happen more often than we realize. You know, here in the US, we think, oh, stroke is something old people get, and it's not. A friend of mine had hers. She was hmm, late 40s, right about 50, and changed her whole life. She was still working, single mom. So it was, her daughter was on her own, was already in college at that time. But it's scary. And when you're so young, you know, you're thinking, okay, let's get through it. But then I can't imagine what it was like for you at all to be there and know that you knew everything that was going on and no way to communicate. How did you keep your sanity about you during that time?
Mm. Eventually, Prozac.
Yeah.
But
But
during that time, I think I was just so in shock that I was not
yes.
computing what was happening. I mean,
Yeah.
that whole time I went from blinking yes and no to blinking. Somebody would stop the letter that I needed, so it would spell things out by
Oh,
blinking.
okay.
And that took forever, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And eventually,
Oh,
at the first hospital, I was able to move a little bit my right side, especially my right arm. I mean, I was there for 43 days, right? So in that time, my brother would come in. Actually, my parents, man, they were, I'm so grateful for my family because they created shifts so somebody would be with me 24 hours a day,
that's
24 hours.
wonderful.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, that even saved my life one time when I was basically in the I had been moved from the ICU to regular unit, and I was taken off the ventilator. I had a ventilator for a while, and I just woke up in a gasp, and I couldn't breathe. And if my mom had not been there to alert people to help me, I would have died.
Wow, that's just scary. So I have to ask you, and uh, and you know, it's up to you if you answer my questions or not. I'm totally fine if you don't. So,
Yeah.
um, so you went in. They figured you had a blood clot in your brain, and you weren't paralyzed at this time. They took the blood clot out, and when you woke up, I'm assuming from the ventilator. Um, and you were able to, I don't know what, I mean, when did you realize you were paralyzed from like here down? I mean, that's a huge shock to your system. And
Yeah.
was it from the blood clot itself? Is that what caused it? Or was it something in the surgery? Do you have any idea?
I think, I'm not sure. I'd be speculating, but I think at least the muteness was already pre-operation because
Okay.
I remember when I was getting operated, and it was actually an interesting story because I got operated on one of those tables where autopsies are done, like
Oh, wow.
a metal slab.
That's creepy.
That's very creepy, and I didn't know what the reason was. when I spoke to a friend of mine who is in the medical profession, he said, that's what happens when they don't think you're going to make it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, holy. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway, what I remember from that before the operation was I was lying on the table and I was cold because I was not dressed and I was feeling the metal. And then all of a sudden I had to go to the bathroom. And I think I started squirming. I'm not sure. But in my head, I was going, please, I have to go to the bathroom. Can you? And I realized, wait, my words are not coming out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. That's just so strange. I assume they had you covered with a gown or a blanket or something.
I think that happened eventually, but I
Isn't
don't
that
even know if
something?
anesthesia kicked in.
Yeah, yeah. So you have the ventilator out, and usually they say don't try to talk right away, but did you try to talk right away?
I think I just couldn't. I could
Yeah,
not talk.
yeah.
No,
And
actually,
couldn't breathe. That's another scary thing. Did they have to put the ventilator back in, or what happened?
that's when I got a trach. That
Okay.
night, gave me a trach.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you learn to talk through the trach? I mean, some people have devices that they use or anything.
No, no, the trach was actually there for probably at least 2 months. What happened was my brother, when I could move this arm, brought in my laptop. And then I began typing what I wanted to
Oh,
communicate.
nice.
I would type with one hand and with one finger.
But you could do that. That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that was such a relief.
Yeah. So there you are. Let's go to the point where they've taken the trach out. What happens next?
So they take out the trach. They also remove the feeding tube. I'm already at a rehab hospital. And I don't even know what's happening. I'm still thinking I'm gonna go home, all
Mm-hmm.
patched up, and I'm gonna resume my life as it was. This is what I thought because I had zero reference for stroke. So I had no
Right.
idea, right? What happened was I went home eventually after 43 days in one place, 2 months at the rehab hospital, because insurance ran out. So I went home in a
Oh,
wheelchair,
wow.
in diapers, cross-eyed, barely able to speak a syllable, and unable to really swallow properly. I would choke on liquids.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So it was a hell of a journey.
Yeah, it would be. So here you are today, walking, talking, eating, I'm assuming. um, how did all of that take place? I mean, how long did it take before you could feel you could kind of be on your own, I guess?
Everything took a really, really long time. Before I could walk, it was, I want to say a few months.
Okay.
However, when I got home with the wheelchair did not fit through any of my doors.
Oh my.
So I graduated to using a walker at home because I had no choice. I had
Right,
to.
right. And you had somebody staying with you all the time, I'm assuming. Yeah. Was
Yes.
it was it family that stayed with you?
Yeah, my mother quit working.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So what kept you going? What kept you determined to keep getting better? Was it you still didn't understand it and you just wanted to get better, or were you learning about it along the way?
And no, it really was my family.
Yeah.
I lost all hope. Totally. I was like, why didn't I die? I would rather be dead. I didn't want to live. They were the ones that were keeping hope alive. And it wasn't until one day at the hospital where one of the psychiatrists, I think she was a psychiatrist, said to me, because I could understand. I just wasn't really talking. She said, when you go home, things are going to be different. You'll be different. And I was like, what does she mean different? I still thought that things were going to be like they were before. And it was not until that day that, like, the possibility entered my mind of things being somehow different. So that was a seed. And then when I was at the rehab hospital, I think it was the first day, they gave me a hairbrush and they said, brush your hair. I could move my arm right. And I thought, all right, that's easy. So I brought the brush up to about 3 inches from my head, and I could not touch my head. And that's when I realized, holy cow, I have a mountain ahead of me. So I began to wail. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm not going to go home perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That would be tough. That would be tough to go through that. And to realize that, yeah, it's not going to change. My friend, same thing. She says, yeah, I'm just going to go back to the way everything was before. And it took her a while to accept it. And she still, every day tries to do better, tries to do better. But at some point, she really did realize it's like, okay, this is what I have to deal with now. This is my new normal.
Right.
Yeah. But do you brush your own hair now?
Yes, I do everything now.
Do you? That's awesome. That's awesome. But it's just through determination, through physical therapy, through what do you think?
It was a combination of a lot of things. First, it was my family, because they're the ones that would make me do things, even though I didn't want to. They made me do therapy because the therapy place, the rehab center, they wouldn't even take me back until I was potty trained.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to have an in-home health aide, like for
Right.
therapy. My mom's the one that was my caregiver. And eventually, when I did go back to therapy, first it was my parents and also my therapist at home doing stuff. And my mom, we had a recumbent bike at home that kind
Mm-hmm.
of looks like a chair.
Right.
So she said, oh, I think you should come ride a bike. So I went with her and I put my feet on the pedals and my feet slipped right off. I couldn't even keep my feet on pedals. She
Wow.
tied my feet to the pedals. That's
Isn't that something? So she'd help you figure it out so you could do things. That's really wonderful.
I didn't want to do things and I hated them every second of it. But no, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got better, you know, what happened during the time when you realized, you know what, I'm okay now. I can start doing things on my own. I don't need to have all of this going on all the time. What was that like?
Well, the recovery in itself took about 10 years, right?
Okay.
And it started very slowly. When I could finally walk, I had a four-prong cane, then a single cane, then I could walk on my own. So I eventually joined the gym. I think it was like
Okay.
year 3 post stroke. And I was still miserable. I was still in that, why me, why me, why me, why my life?
Right.
And I joined the yoga class because I figured it's easily modifiable. They're going to help me, or they're not going to be mad at me when I can't do things. But I didn't realize what a powerful mental exercise that would be, because that is the thing that finally opened the skies for me, and that black cloud was no longer over my head. And that's when I realized, I want to move forward.
Wow. Wow. That's interesting. Why do you think yoga did that for you? What do you think it was all about that made the difference?
I didn't understand at first, but I researched it a little bit, and I realized, or I learned, that the reason the yogis did all these poses was that so they could hold meditations. So it's like a meditation
Okay.
almost. I think it
Yeah.
just made me look inward.
Yeah. Meditation is so good. So good for us. Um, wow. And so there you go. Now you've written a book. Was that tough to write the book?
It wasn't tough, and at the same time, it was very cathartic. It was very cathartic to get that stuff all of it on paper and then see it and get it out of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I wrote the book for me. I didn't even write it for others to read. But then the overwhelming feedback I got was, wow, I really saw myself in that. And I was
Wow.
so surprised at, because it was more than one person or more than 10 that said that.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised because I thought, wow, I don't think you've had an experience like mine. Because it's kind of, I don't know, everybody has their own experiences, but
Right.
not everybody has a stroke and ends up mute and paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
But that was the overwhelming response I got, that I saw
Isn't that
myself.
something? Yeah. That's interesting. I'm anxious for your second edition. I want to see what you bring out in that one. Um, yeah, because it's what a powerful way to tell your story so other people can see themselves and look inward and see what they need to do or how far they've come. Too many times we look at what we haven't achieved and we forget to look at how far
Yeah,
we actually have come.
that
And
is so
it's
true.
like, yeah, yeah. So you've written a book, you have your own business, correct? Yeah, so tell
Yeah.
us about your business.
So that's also tied into the stroke. I'll begin with, okay, so I was looking to recover for about 10 years. I was still making little strides forward. They were little, but I was still moving forward. When I got to 10 years, I stopped and I said, you know what? I have not really recovered in 2 years or so. Maybe this is it. Maybe I'm plateaued. Maybe I'm done recovering. And I was basically at 70% of what I was before the stroke.
Oh,
But I said, you know what? I'm tired. I'm so tired of chasing health. Every waking moment was about health, looking up treatments, doing treatments, ended up doing stem cells. I went to Germany for therapy. I did Feldenkrais method, hyperbaric, oxygen. I did a bunch of stuff. I was just throwing noodles and hoping something would stick, right? But then at 10 years, I said, all right, I'm done recovering. I'm also done with therapy. I don't want to look up any treatments. I don't want to do any treatments. I want to do something other than chase my health.
right.
So I went back to school And I also started working with a friend to get out of the house. And I was just plodding along. And then 15 years after the stroke, I saw an ad for a nutrition course. And I was like, all right, I think I'll enroll because I've already been playing with my diet. That was also one of the tools in my toolbox. So, macrobiotic, pescatarian, vegetarian, I ran the whole gamut, right? And I figured, whatever, I'm gonna learn something new. And I'm curious, so I enrolled. Well, much to my shock, I mean, there's no other word for it. Within 6 months of the start of the course, I had recovered another 20%, 15
Wow.
years after, and I got my life back. I got my life back.
Wow.
And I was
That's
like,
incredible.
I was shocked. I was so shocked that I signed up for the coaching certification. But why? Not because I wanted to coach anybody, because I did not. I wanted to know what is a sorcery that happened to me. 'Cause I wanted to understand. I did not get it.
Yeah.
And so during the coaching certification, we also had to have a pilot class. So I gathered a few people, and when I got over myself, because I also had a little mini breakdown right before the class. But anyway, when I finally got the class going successfully, and at the end of it, people are having their own miracles. Their own miracles, like two people, no more CPAP machines.
Wow.
One lady had gallbladder infections like 3 or 4 times a week.
Mhm.
Her bladder, her gallbladder attacks stopped happening.
Oh, wow.
Somebody with type 2 diabetes, an 86-year-old that had been injecting for 10 years, she stopped injecting. I think she was injecting something like 53 units per day. And all these miracles. And
Oh.
then I was like, all right, now I'm hooked. Now I'm hooked. So this is what I now do.
Yeah, that would be. And it's amazing that um, nutrition has such a vast role in our lives. I mean, we just don't think about what we're putting inside of our bodies and what it's doing to us.
Because we've never been taught. I mean,
Yeah.
we've actually been untaught.
Yeah.
Untaught. I want.
We've been given all of these fast foods and quick snacks and all this, what everybody says, junk food. And it's there, it's quick, it's easy, just, takes the hunger pain away and keep on going. Instead of putting stuff in us that's really good for us, that tastes good, probably costs way less than what we're spending on all the junk and everything. And our lives are better for it. Yeah, I had my gallbladder out, so yeah, I understand about the pain and stuff that goes along with that. It's like I did try for a while to do what I could to avoid it, but there's just too much sand in there. That's what they called it. So it was the biggest he'd ever seen. Not the world record. That was over in India, I think. but but yeah, it's it's amazing how nutrition plays such a positive role in our lives, and we're so slow to do anything about it or to accept it.
And it's scary to think about. I mean, it's scary to think that we are being put through these medical practices. But the foundation is your nutrition.
Yeah.
Did a doctor ever ask you, what are you eating? Because the doctor never asked me. But I know that when people take their dogs to the vet always asks them, what is your pet eating?
Yep.
They ask us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know when I was doing a Mediterranean diet, huge difference. huge difference in my energy, on how I felt, what I felt that I could do or couldn't do, not sleeping all the time, or, wanting to sleep. And yeah, when you get older, sometimes you want to sleep because you don't sleep at night, but having the good nutrition there makes a difference in how you sleep at night, even not having to get up 3 or 4 times during the night to use the bathroom. A lot of that comes from drinking too much water before bed, but yeah, but it made a huge difference. I'd gone through and decided I don't want any high fructose corn syrup, and trying to find something in the stores that I could eat that didn't have that in it. I was shocked. It's like there's nothing I can eat. But I found things, and then trying to limit how much salt, how much sodium I'm putting in my body, because for me it was a lot. Now my husband, he's the opposite. He has to add sodium to his body because of the way he processes it. Um, but but yeah, once I had surgery on my knee right after Christmas this last year, a lot of foods were processed foods, because it was just easier for my husband to do that. He wasn't into the cutting everything up and preparing it and whatnot, even though it didn't take that long. But yeah, I noticed a difference in my body. And I noticed when I got sick that the virus seemed to go into my bones, and finally got that kicked out. But yeah, it's amazing. So for the people that are listening and they're like, well, I want some good nutrition, what are maybe just 1 or 2 things they can do right now that'll make a difference?
I'll give you 3 things.
Okay, that's better.
Number 1, water. I
Mhm.
know everybody hears water, drink water. I drink a glass a day, but nobody really does it because people say, well, I don't want to pee all day at work, for example. But it really makes a huge difference. And
Mhm.
actually, when I was told to do that, I thought, well, I can't drink that much water. I'm not thirsty, right? And I was like having a little tantrum about that. And then when I finally did it, I woke up the first morning, boom, instead of being all groggy, I woke up with energy, and I was like, maybe there is something to this. So drink water. And I like to salt my water. I put Himalayan
I,
salt in a
yeah, I've
regular
heard
table.
people do that. Yeah, just put a little bit in there and it makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for electrolytes.
Hmm.
Some
Okay,
people
so
say
what's the
drink
second thing?
Dietary. The second thing would be to breathe, do breathing exercises. One of the
Really?
easiest ones. Yeah. Yes, because your body needs to feel safe. And when we're breathing, shallow breathing, which most of us do, you're telling your body it's not safe. Like,
Oh,
I'll give you an example. If you go out in the wild, you go on a safari, and you step out of the car, and you turn a rock, and then you see a lion right in front of your face. You're like, ah! And then you go, ah, lion. No, you go, lion. And you get all like stressed and cortisol and all that energy is happening and all your functions shut down other than run.
right.
So we want to deep breathe to indicate to our bodies that they're safe. And an easy breathing exercise would be inhale for 5, hold it for 5, exhale for 5, and then hold it for 5. And repeat that a couple of times. And maybe you could
Okay.
do it when you wake up and when you go to bed and whenever you remember throughout the day. And then number 3, and don't get mad at me, please. I learned this the hard way because I myself was a vegetarian. If you want to do that for ethical reasons, that's your prerogative. That's not my concern. I was doing it for health because I believed it was healthier. Folks, if you're doing it for health, you can start eating meat because it's definitely not healthier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
and
mean,
I know that when, we had our own beef, so I knew it was good. I knew what the beef ate. I knew what it was going inside of its body. Um, and we didn't really buy a lot of processed feed. We had the hay, we had the grazing, things like that. Um, so I knew what was going inside our beef. And wow, the flavor was just amazing. But
mhm.
that beef is gone. It doesn't last forever. But when I go to the store, and I've heard this before, is you buy the higher quality cuts of meat. You
Yes.
don't buy the hamburger that's, got 20% fat in it because it shrinks down to just nothing. So you've wasted, half of what you bought, but you get the higher qualities of meat, and it really does make a difference. It makes a difference on the flavor. It makes a difference on how your body feels. Um, and it's like, you don't have to go buy $40 steaks every night, but, a couple of times a month, it's not going to hurt you.
I will say this, even the lowest quality beef in the store is probably more nutritious than anything else in the store.
Yeah,
Even your hot dogs and even that is probably better quality than anything else.
isn't that something? I hear a lot of people. I can hear you all saying hot dogs. I know what's in this. But if you don't like hot, you can get all beef. You can get hot dogs that are special made. If you've got different stores like that. Um, but yeah, um, it
Just read
makes a
the
difference.
ingredients.
What's that?
You can read the ingredients, like in the hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you X meat, pig's meat, whatever.
Right,
And they don't specify, oh, tail, nose. They don't specify all that stuff. But they do specify all the additives. And if it's
right.
got additives and stuff, that's what you don't want. Because an animal, once it's dead, we're being realistic, you can eat it, nose to tail. The whole thing is edible.
Oh yeah,
Ears, it's the additives that you don't want.
right, right. And some people say, well, yeah, our ancestors used to eat every part of the meat, and they didn't live very long. But you know what? You start doing any kind of research on family, you find out there was a lot of them lived a really long time.
Yeah.
Some had accidents, so they were gone at 35, for whatever reason. Or there were some diseases that came through and would wipe out a whole family, or they didn't have clean drinking water, so they'd end up with cholera. But overall, a lot of people lived a really long time. They didn't all die at 35. That was kind of a story that I remember being told, at the schools that I was at, in the younger grades, was that, oh, yeah, your relatives, the average lifespan was 35 years old. Well, I found out that really wasn't true. And
No, and more, I just want to say something to that because I hear that argument all the time.
yeah,
And
because it was beating our heads.
there was reasons, but the reason the average age lifespan was so low is because infant death mortality was about
Mhm.
50%. So
Yeah,
when you're averaging
yeah,
about 50% infant death with the people that actually lived till later in life, you're gonna get a very skewed number.
yes,
Very skewed.
yeah, yeah. And it's, yeah, yeah. And you need to go look at, well, why did this happen? What was going on? And not just assume one thing or another. And yeah, that's just crazy. Well, we definitely have talked way longer than
Oh,
usually do, but that's okay. So, how can people get a hold of your book, and how can people get a hold of you to find out more?
so if you're interested in the book, you can just send me an email at hello@genuinelymaria.com. That's hello@genuinelymaria.com. And if you want to go to my website, I offer complimentary discovery calls. And I just want to say this, even though what I guide is not a weight loss program, weight loss is a byproduct, and it's probably the best thing out there for it that I've seen. And that, I mean, clients that have had 40 pounds of weight loss in 3 months, and that's more than one
Um,
person. That was multiple people. So
yeah,
just want to throw that there. Not only are you healing your body from the inside out, you're also feeling a ton better, looking a ton better, and the weight just flies off. When you focus on your health, the weight just flies off.
that's excellent. That's really good. So, we go to www.genuinelymaria.com and
Yes.
get a hold of you there, get a hold of you with your book. And thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I always love visiting with you and talking with you. You're such a joy. And it's wonderful. Yeah. So thank you for being here on the front porch, and thank your audience for being here. And get a hold of Maria. It's really great. All right. Well, I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Don't just listen. Join the conversation. Tell us what you're building, what's challenging you, and what you've discovered along the way. Your question could inspire an entire episode, and your experience might be exactly the encouragement someone else needs. We'll save you a seat on the porch.
Subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share the wisdom.